Welcome to another edition of our video podcast developed to help parents, learn information that can be of help to support their children's pursuing an education. And today we have the pleasure of interviewing Anthony Morejon, which is the Hispanic community liaison of the Hillsborough County, and a firm advocate of Latino success and progress. May I call you Tony?
Please do.
Tony, welcome. Thank you
Thank you,
for
Carlos.
being
Thank you
here.
for
I
the invitation.
appreciate you taking the time because I
Sure.
know you are a busy man. But please tell us about what is the role of the community liaison?
Let me tell you about the concept behind
Mhm.
community liaisons. The county administration and the county BOCC, or the county commissioners, they acknowledge this is a large community. We have about 1.2 people, 1.2 million people who live in this county. And not everybody is of one type. So the community liaisons go into the community. I happen to work with the Latino community, the Hispanic community. We have an African American liaison that works with that community, an Asian affairs liaison that works with the Asian community. And our task is to bring government to the people at the level where they can understand it, and to be able to talk to them and to help them interact with their county government, because county government is the ultimate customer service. We're here to provide you what you pay for.
I see. Now, and how do you, because that's an interesting concept, how do you practically bring the government to the people?
Well, see, we live in the information age, right? Oh yeah, we're in the information age. The Latinos live in an information age vacuum. The information exists here, the community exists there. How do you get that information to the community there? And that's what we try to do. We try to connect that bridge, make those connections so the community can have the information that helps them live their normal lives. And we do that with our TV show. We do a Spanish television show. I've been doing one for over 15 years about the community, giving out information. We do that through newsletters. We do that through the internet as well. We do it with meetings in the community. There may be community meetings where the community gets to learn about their government and ask questions. We do hurricane/disaster preparation seminars. We do information to keep your kids safe, because a lot of these things that are done in English, and we do them in Spanish. And that is another controversy in its own. So,
But it's a wonderful idea that you can bring the government to the people in the people's language.
yes, it has to be where they can understand it.
Exactly.
And it wouldn't do us any good if the people do not understand what it is you're talking about.
Very good. Now, if a Latino parent is interested in contacting you, for example, or to learn
Yes.
more about government, how do they go about that?
Well, I can give you the phone number.
Very good,
If you want you to
please.
run a graphic to go with it, but it's 813-274-6730, 813-274-6730.
Wonderful.
At this number, we have a live person that answers the phone usually. There's two of us in our office. There's a big title. There's actually two of us, and like right now, I'm doing the show with you. That other person's in the office taking phone calls, and we get constant calls all day, and emails. People walk into our office, knock on the door, and they want information, and they're looking for what we call in español orientación, or orientation. So they need somebody to take them by the hand and say, okay, this is where you go for this. And I can give you examples of that. It could be
Mhm.
somebody whose dog ran across the street and was in somebody else's yard, and that person called the authorities, the county, and we went out there and we cited them for having a loose dog, because there's an ordinance. So what do we try to do? Educate folks that because we're county, we have laws, you have to have a leash on your dog, and we try to work with the animal services people to make sure that those folks understand the rules and the laws and work out whatever problem they have.
I see. So you really provide critical information for specific, very concrete problems sometimes.
I would agree with you.
Wonderful. Now, what kind of resources do parents have access to in order to support their children's education?
Well, let me tell a little bit about the county.
Please.
Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners' budget is in total about close to $4 billion.
$4 billion.
That's a whole lot of money. And a lot of that money, we also, as a community, Hispanic community, also provides into that budget. But that budget provides services. Services, you name it, from Head Start to after-school care at the parks, to a number of It could be solid waste issues, it could be wastewater, it could be water, it could be the street, it could be parks department, libraries. We provide all those services to everybody. And those resources are available to Latino parents as well. They may want to take their children to the library. They may not know that the library, I give the example of the one in Town and Country, has an extensive collection of Spanish books as well. So maybe they want to take their kids there. We have Head Start programs that start at age 0 when the child is born, early Head Start. And it helps them get through the first 4 or 5 years of their lives. Those are there as well for the people. And like that, I can tell you, gazillion things that we do. We provide all kinds of services, and those are resources. Maybe it's somebody whose light bill is going to be cut off. Maybe the dad lost his job. Maybe the mom lost her job. Maybe they need help with food that week. Maybe they need medical coverage. The county provides a number of these things to eligible participants.
Let me see if I understand this correctly. So individual persons can approach you for
Yes.
help, but also other administrators or school teachers or principals can also contact you on behalf of other people?
Sure.
I
We
see.
work with the schools, we work with the school principals, we work with the administration, we work with guidance counselors, we work with churches.
Mhm.
A lot of these folks, the churches, especially the pastors, they know the problems that people have, because they go to them.
Mhm.
And they come to us and say, hey, can you help us? You know, this person needs, the grandmother's ill. And she's the one who takes care of the kids when they come back from school. Can you help us? And we can work that out. We can put them in touch, like I said, we make the connection for them.
Mhm.
Here's aging services, here's social services, medical services. We provide that.
Now, I know that you are a prominent figure in our community and you have been serving a number of different roles and functions, but also as a liaison. Now, any particular stories of success that you may remember that comes to mind?
Well, I can tell you my motivation.
Uh-huh.
And one of the stories is, and this is true, and it frustrates some of the people who might be with me sometimes. I'll go to a restaurant, or I can go to a Walmart or some other store. It could be midnight. And somebody will recognize me and come up and say, hey, Tony, how are you? And I'm trying to remember who they are. And they go, you helped me 15 years ago.
15
You might not remember me, but 15 years ago I was in a lot of trouble, and God bless you. And thank you for helping me. You know, and stuff like that. I have people who come back 10 years after I helped them with something, and they come by to show me pictures of their kids, or those are the things that, you know, that make me feel good. You know, when you can make a difference in somebody's life, and even forget you did it. That to me is awesome.
What an interesting experience, because I can see, you know, somebody approaching you and saying, you know, thank you for what you did, and it happened 15 years ago. What a great story. Now, how do you get involved in all this? Because of course, to become a...
My personal involvement?
Yeah.
I was a social worker. I worked in an African-American community mostly, but I started noticing the clients that started coming to see me were named Gonzalez and Fernandez and Nandez and Martinez, and all these Latin, Spanish names started to come see me. And I said, I gotta ask you a question. If you live in that neighborhood on the other side of town, why do you come here? And he said, because here you treat people like people. You know, I know that in these other places that we've gone, they don't treat us too good.
I see.
And I knew that, you know, and I had heard stories, and I would help people, and then that person would tell the next one, and before you know it, my clientele started to be a lot of people who were Latino, because they weren't being heard, they weren't being treated fairly. And I started getting involved in those issues, and at work, hearing from other co-workers who were Latino who thought that they weren't being treated fairly, and I started to speak up. So I listened, spoke up, and I stood my ground, and you know, it's always been the same. I've always stood up for what I believe in before I got my job, when I had my job, and I guess the day after I leave too, I'll be still speaking what I think needs to be said if somebody else doesn't say it.
Wonderful. Now, regarding your role and the community resources, is there anything else that I should have asked you about that and I didn't, that you would like to?
Well, how can people be a part of it?
Okay.
You know, and some folks, it's easy to sit back and not get involved, but I think that people need to be involved. Parents need to be involved in the education of the children. People need to be involved in their communities. They need to be a civic partner as well, you know. We live in a great country. We're going through tough times now, but I think that people need to be involved and say, you know what, I can't wait, can't let Carlos do it. I can't wait and let somebody else do it. I gotta do my part. And that's what I wish that people would get out of it, that they count.
They count.
And that we need them also to help us.
Very true, very true. Now, you are an educated Latino.
Yes?
So
Somewhat.
so that means that you have been successful. Help me understand, how did you make it?
Well, my mom and dad and my uncles always said, where are you going to school? What are you going to do? What are you going to do with your life? You have to study. And they were always pushing me to further my education. I went to University of Tennessee.
University of Tennessee?
Yeah, at Chattanooga to finish. I went to HCC first 2 years and then over there. But they were always behind me. And my mom was always that guiding light. She goes, you need to study, you need to get an education, you need to do something for yourself and for your life. And that's what led me down that road of education. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed school. I wish I would have studied harder. So this kid's listening. Study hard. It pays off.
Now, you know, you because of who you are and because of the success you have accomplished, you are a living proof that yes, we can. Si podemos.
Sure, we can.
And so, you know, what is your reaction when you hear people saying, well, you know, Latinos don't care about education, or Hispanic parents, you know, they only want their kids to work, they don't worry about them studying?
I don't think so. I think it's unfortunate. I've had the opportunity, I've worked in government for about 26 and a half years. And I have met a lot of parents who sacrifice everything to come to this country. They either cross the Caribbean, or they cross the Straits of the Gulf, they cross the river, they came however they got here, on a plane, however they got to the United States, and they came with a dream. And they want their kids to succeed. What happens in between sometimes is difficult. Sometimes these parents, they have to work 2 jobs. And sometimes that hurts the family. And sometimes some of these kids, you know, they opt for an easy life sometimes. But no, you give them the chance, and you give them the backing, and these kids will make it. There's proof in this university. Some of these outstanding students who were the ones that people said couldn't do it. So I don't believe that. I think just need to give them a chance.
Wonderful, wonderful. You heard it here. We have a great advocate for the Latino community, and a great, not only liaison, but a support and a successful Latino. And I think that he also conveys the message that yes, we can. And if we are given the opportunity, and we also actively engage ourselves in seizing the opportunity, you know, we can do it. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.